Hello, I'm Leonor Haskell, Senior Director of Development at New Classrooms. Thank you for joining us for a conversation about AI in education. I'm joined today by two of my colleagues, Matt Petersen and Ellynne. And let me tell you a little bit about them. Matt is New Classroom's Chief Academic Officer. He leads our efforts in program and product design, as well as our innovation and insights work. Matt is a lifelong educator. He's been a special education aide, a classroom teacher, and a school leader. Right before joining us at New Classrooms, Matt served as a strategy, innovation, and design consultant to school districts and education organizations looking to create conditions for intentional cultures, structures, and systems toward breakthrough innovation in K-12 schools. Ellynne is our Senior Director of Insights and Analytics. Before joining New Classrooms, she worked as an actuary and a decision analyst in a range of industries and also taught at Columbia Business School. At New Classrooms, Ellynne leads our research program analyzing student data to understand how engagement patterns relate to learning progress. In her most recent work, she focuses on the relationship between learning readiness and the rate of skill acquisition. Matt and Ellynne are joining us today to share some of their insights about AI, its limitation, its possibilities, and to give us a little sneak peek into what's been happening at New Classrooms with AI. Matt and Ellynne, welcome and thanks for joining us. To start, how do you see the role of AI in education? Matt, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. Thank you for having me. I think at our core, New Classrooms, by the very nature of the name, is looking to find new ways for students and teachers to engage in the learning experience. At our core, we've always said we know, understand, and support the importance of the adults in the classroom. Having a caring adult and a student in a relationship with that caring adult is super important. So I say all that to say the role of AI in our classrooms is I think paramount to helping to build that relationship, help a teacher understand more about a kid, what a kid knows and needs to be able to do, maybe what a kid likes or dislikes, how a kid learns, and can really kind of create a superpower for that teacher to be able to really kind of do the uniquely human things that we humans do. So we think it's a huge, possibly powerful tool in education. Certainly the newest parts of AI, still very, very early, but there's a lot of possibility for really supercharging that relationship.
Yeah, to me, I think it's helpful to sort of think about the short term and the longer term picture when it comes to the role of AI in education. Certainly in the short term, there's a lot of exciting opportunity to activate student learning, to supplement existing technology that students are learning in the classroom with some additional content that's a little bit more aligned with AI opportunities. There are opportunities for teachers to use AI to develop more extensive learning program options, to come up with different content that their students can engage with. And there's also a lot of opportunities for administrators to use AI just to organize better the administrative burden that has accrued upon this whole sector over the recent years. So there's a lot of opportunity in the very short term, but I really believe that in the longer term, in order for AI to really create the kinds of fundamental changes in student outcomes that we really want for our students today, we do have to see quite a lot of change, not just in technology, but also in the systems that surround and leverage that technology. And but ultimately, I really appreciate Matt's comments about AI being really about enhancing the quality of interaction between students and teachers, between students and other students, whether they're students in their own classroom or students that are around the world. Leveraging sort of the AI intermediary could be quite exciting. And then, between teachers and the administrators and boards of education and, even at the federal level, there could be opportunities to enhance those relationships with AI. But I think we're quite far away from being able to see those benefits.
And Ellynne, how is the implementation of AI in education different from other sectors?
Yeah, this is a good question. I mean, obviously, like in many sectors, privacy, data privacy, and the concern of accuracy of information is paramount. So education is not special in this regard, and it's kind of the first thing that we think about is, are we protecting students' data, and are we protecting students from incorrect information or some of the sort of hallucinations that you hear that AI comes up with. But I think that education is actually a very unique opportunity to help teach students, help these learners understand how to effectively use AI as a tool in the future, and how to engage with AI content in ethical and transparent ways. So, I think to the extent that education is different, it's because we are given this opportunity to help shape the future use of technology by the ways that we are helping to introduce students to this in the classroom. So I really think that this is an exciting opportunity that's unique to education.
We're really excited for you two to share a little bit about what New Classrooms is doing in the AI space. Matt, could you talk a little bit about what's happening currently at the organization?
Sure. I think we're in about our 13th year of existence. AI came at a really good point for us. We spent our first 10 years learning a lot about our skills and the relationship between those skills and what a student needs to pass those skills. And we have a lot of unique assets needed to really train AI. We have a skill map. We have a lot of resources that are very skill-based. So AI is only as good as what it can be trained upon. And so we had a really nice structured way of talking about math that AI could really understand. So that gave us a lot of opportunity to really hit the ground running with this kind of newest form of AI, generative AI, large language models. We spent from about July, August of last year, we had a grant given to us from the Gates Foundation to explore some possible solutions using large language models. And I'll just outline a few of them really quickly. The first one is really around the extent to which we can contextualize learning for kids. The most frequent question asked in every math class around America is, when am I ever going to use this? And so we made a when am I ever going to use this button? And when a kid presses that button, a bunch of very interesting and somewhat absurd use cases come up for future jobs they could have where that particular skill could be used. The good news is it happened so quickly that we were able to actually put that in product on a few skills and get student feedback on it. And to Ellen's point earlier, really kind of transparently share what AI thinks about this particular skill and the absurd way that AI can think. The really cool thing about that particular feature is AI came up with things that I don't think our academic team or anybody sitting in a room would necessarily come up with. It was really a really cool mix of different things. Ice cream chemists and paleo.
Yeah, my favorite is professional bubble wrap popper.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is, if I had heard that when I was in 8th grade, I would definitely have put that on my list.
Yeah, and so it really we saw it not just as a a tool so that kids would kind of get the answer to their question, but it's also a moment in the product where it can be a little more fun and a little more engaging for kids. And that we played around a lot with that and got to a point where we were pretty happy with what was being generated. We were able to put in the product. The second thing that we tried was, we have a lot of word problems. We have very rigorous problems that we have, and we would have loved for AI to kind of generate pictures that were kind of diagrams for those problems. AI failed miraculously at this. We never got one even close to usable. No matter how much kind of prompt engineering we did, we envisioned this world where we write a problem and AI would make a picture about that problem kind of on the fly. And we kind of quickly abandoned that effort, waiting for AI to get a little bit better. And then the third thing we did, we call it a bunch of different things. Right now we call it the unstuck feature. And it's a technical prototype of a student engaging with a problem, encountering a challenge, naming what they think that problem is, or asking a question of an AI-enabled chat. And that chat can then introduce hints to that student to help them kind of solve the problem, get over whatever hump that they might make. The real cool part of this feature is the hints can be generated from other students who similarly struggled with this problem, so that a kid can get help from students kind of all around the nation and the world to get help in this particular area. And so this is an AI-enabled feature. We've played around with it. It's certainly still in the technical phase. Very few kids have interacted with it. We're still trying to get it right. But those are the kind of areas that we're going, really around contextualizing the learning experience, and then also intervening very specifically based on the misconceptions that a kid might have.
And I just want to add that, even before we had the opportunity to add some of these great AI features into the existing platform, we've been using kind of a version of AI, machine learning, or versions of machine learning since the beginning, which I think in some sense just really means we've been engaging with data in critical ways, in trying to really understand what's going on with our students and what are the factors that really lead to real student and cohort progress. And so, we're not, this is not kind of a whole new world to us. And we're just excited to be able to extend a lot of the technical capabilities that we had working with our data into these areas that kind of reach students in much more creative and active ways.
And Ellynne, you touched on this a bit earlier, but how can we ensure that we engineer solutions that deliver student-appropriate content and that promote equity in the classroom?
Yeah, well, when Matt talked about the when will I use this button feature that we've been able to implement, that involved quite a lot of human intervention review to make sure that the content that was going to be provided to students was absolutely appropriate for use. We also do quite a bit of work in terms of making sure, we did a lot of work to make sure that the language was going to be understandable to students at the different ages that are using our product. And and the accessibility features that we have in roadmaps were also extended to our AI features as well. Another thing that of course, we were worried about data privacy. So we've designed our features to prevent any kind of data sharing to go to AI organizations, at least at this stage. And, unless things change in the landscape, that will be the case going forward. Another thing that we're very, very motivated by the fact that we think a number of our students might not be given the opportunity yet to engage with AI content. And so this, by sharing AI with them in this way, we are, I think, addressing some potential access equity issues. to help students really learn that this is a tool. This is something that they need to engage with critically. They don't, they need to ask questions. They need to know how to evaluate the information that they're receiving through this technology. And I'm excited that we can give them those early opportunities. I think that goes quite a long way to addressing some equity gaps that might emerge in the future.
Yeah, I'll also say one of the biggest concerns of curriculum and content providers since the beginning of curriculum and content has been that it's written with a bias. It's written for a certain group of kids and is situated in a certain way. AI really provides that ability to contextualize and make more relevant and really personalize. We've always been very keen on personalization. That just right skill at that just right moment, that trying to find ways for kids to interact with each other. But AI really does allow that extra level of contextualization of content that can really just meet a kid where they are and honor the traditions that they have, the cultural background that they have, and how they're situated to the world in a way that really is almost impossible to design without some level of artificial intelligence. So that's really, I think, a really promising area.
And Matt, to bring things home, what are the biggest opportunities and limitations of AI in math learning?
I think I just kind of mentioned it, but that kind of complete and total contextualization of the learning experience for each and every student, regardless of how they're situated toward opportunity, toward math, toward their teacher. It is really could be a very powerful tool.
Well,
I think
AI is really bad at math.
Yes, the biggest
thing to just say at this point.
It is the single two limitations that come to mind are AI is super, like, incredibly historically bad at math. It is especially this new version, this generative AI is based on the kind of predicting of the next word. It doesn't know what a square is spatially, right? It doesn't solve equations. And so its ability to evaluate whether a student gets an answer right, its ability to do a problem or check if a problem is done right or help understand is all really based on the inputs that we give it. It doesn't have that kind of sentience about math that it appears to have about language. And so that is, like, for us, the biggest limitation is we're working with a math solution right now, and generative AI specifically is just kind of behind still in math. I think it will probably eventually get better every time it comes out. New features are coming out. So that's by far the biggest limitation. The second one that I would feel like I would have to add is we've talked a lot about data and what AI can do with data and what we can do with data as it relates to research that's ultimately for the common good. I think the trend that we're seeing in the partner districts and schools we work with is a kind of circling of the wagons as it relates to data, a pulling back of data sharing, an insistence on destroying of data post-use. And so I think a real key limitation, especially as it relates to AI, but really any data and research that we want to do, is trying to strike that balance of honoring student privacy and anonymity while still advancing, educational research and obviously AI as well.
Great. Well, thank you both so much for sharing your thoughts and perspective. Definitely a lot to think about. And thank you all for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this brief exploration of AI in education. If you have any questions, you want to share your thoughts, get in touch. We'd love to continue this conversation with you. Thanks for listening.